First day of spring is what I hear.
Feel like it.
Feels like it. That's North Carolina through and through, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we'll be in our bathing suits come
Friday.
what? Friday,
Yeah.
right? Friday
I
we'll
was
be.
gonna say next week. but
Yeah,
Friday's
Friday.
probably
Yeah.
better.
So let's go ahead and look at approving the minutes from our most recent meeting, which was January 9th. And that is in our packets.
I make a motion to approve.
All right.
And I'll second.
All right. Amy, all in favor, signal by aye. Opposed? Thank you. And we'll go ahead and keep going along with discussion update of the DIG facade grants.
All right, so at the last meeting that we had, there were two applications, one for a dig and one for a facade grant that was submitted by Michael Hurt for his property at 723 Barnes Street where he's renovating his building. So I will show up here the information that he proposed. So you have in the last packet, I just put it up here for those of you who didn't bring it. So this is the downtown center grant policy, and also included in that was his application and everything. But the only thing we do not have is the actual what was assessed. So we'll know how to complete the actual grant formula. So I believe last time you wanted information, to have further discussion in this and whatnot. So I don't recall a match that we did for the dig grant. I know we were working on this. Susan, did you call me?
The dig grant isn't a cash grant, it's a reimbursement of improved tax value. So it's really,
And
you take a property, you improve it, the difference is what you give back over, I think it was at 5 years.
5 years, and this is what was in the actual application. This is like a breakdown of how it's presented.
But we didn't have a max as to what we were gonna give back, or,
Not for his, because the only thing that he presented so far was the estimate. Let me make sure this is the right one. His estimates here, I think it was like $334,856.25.
so what percentage of that would we actually contribute?
Go back up to the grant program.
Yeah, the
Only
only,
breakdown.
so, but we do not have the actual, proposed development value of how much everything is gonna cost. Not cost, but we don't have the actual value, tax value.
What do
So-
you want, the current one or the proposed
So we-
improved?
So it looked like we'll need the before development, which we have that one. That what's on the tax records now is $221,460. But we don't have the actual after development value.
We won't.
Yeah, we won't, that's what I'm saying, we won't have that, so,
And where does this money come from?
Taxes. So
Who
this is
agrees
also-
to it? Is this the county?
we are partners in this.
Yeah.
So if it is approved, it would be county would agree to do it and the town would agree to do it for whatever the percentage is. So
Right.
year one,
So the towns agreed to this?
Well,
we would be proposing
the
that.
TDA would be doing our part, right? Would we not do it? Okay, so
No,
it's
nothing
just
comes out
town and
of-
county, okay, nothing
Right.
comes out of us, okay.
It's strictly a tax reimbursement.
from the MSC.
But the only people that are,
Well, we don't have, I think it's regular taxes, it's not MSD part, is it?
no,
No,
that-
it's
but
not.
we're recommending it because the only people that can apply for it are MSD projects. Because it's supposed to be for significant redevelopment, I think is the way we have it in the purpose. So essentially taking an old building, putting a lot of improvements into it, thus increasing the property value.
And it's 80% the first year?
No, 100. So 100 for the first year, then second year 80%, then the third year 60,
Gotcha.
40, and 20.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is just here was an
An
example
example.
of how they do.
Of just really the taxes.
And it's not the total taxes, it's that improved value. So you take out what it was already on the tax rolls for, and it's just the improved value.
And we already had an actual max amount for the facade grant.
12,500, okay, yeah. And that is not per person, that's just per year, correct?
Right, per project, or per parcel.
Or partial,
Parcel, one project per
One
parcel.
project.
so that we're gonna give them 12,500?
No, on the facade grant, it was actually 5,000.
I was gonna say,
Okay,
facade grant's
okay, yeah.
5,000.
5,000 max.
And
Max.
it's matching,
Yeah.
so they have to put in the same amount.
But we have a total of 12,500 that we're doing
That was budgeted,
And we've had no one take advantage of that,
for that.
only Michael Hurt.
but no
No
other
other person.
downtown awning
Yeah.
replacement.
There were several that mentioned stuff to me, and I asked them to get in touch with you, did they know?
I know, I had to reach back out to one person.
I
I knew one
person.
person have, so I reached back out to them, so that may be the second one. So with this, I know we had other projects going on with the barns, with the streetscape project. So so that's on another, coming up later. But I don't know if you want to try to tackle, to do both in the same fiscal year, or do, if Mike Hurt's project is approved, to proceed with his, so it's up to,
Well, don't we have it budgeted already?
yes, for the facade grant, but not for the dig.
I don't, yeah, but how
But
much
we
money?
wouldn't budget for it, the
Right, we don't
town would,
budget for it.
so it doesn't matter.
But, and
Right,
for
but
the
it-
facade total per year, we're going to give out is 12,500, correct? Isn't that what we had said?
For the facade,
That, I saw that, and
Yeah.
that was in
The
the,
budget.
and I noticed that you had put it in, you had put that and something else in there, which helps for the people that are gonna continue on.
Was it this sheet here?
Right,
Yeah, that
Yeah.
came from finance director, he's
Okay,
there
well,
also.
it makes it easier for people that are getting off the board, for people that come on to know that they can't spend 12,500, so I think that was a huge plus there.
And that'll continue for the.
Randy, you can sit up here if you like, the microphone.
So what's the pleasure of the board?
So are we tackling them separately? We have the dig application we need a motion on, and we have the facade application that we
Right.
need a motion on. And what was the amount of the facade, sorry?
So the facade, I know let me go back to that one.
Or what did he submit, for,
So for the facade, he did. He just did a cost estimate of everything.
that's for the dig though.
Yeah, he sent both the same thing.
So we'll have to really find out
Find out
about
actually
that.
from him,
So,
right.
let's table the facade until he sends
Right.
it out.
And actually, I can,
Have to
actually,
have a
I
picture
have
of what
him,
he's doing, 'cause
right.
it's for like a sign
Right.
or for something, so
Right,
yeah.
something exterior.
right, and if you like, I can put that on for the next
That's
month's
fine.
meeting and have him, attend here. But I just wanna make sure we had this straightened out before he comes back.
Cause I think if he's the only one and we've got it available,
Mm-hmm.
we need to.
Maybe it'll make people realize we have it available.
That's right.
So
Okay,
for
we
that,
do
we're
have- So there is an application, he just didn't fill this out.
What, for the, he completed the
Facade.
facade, yes, he completed the facade application,
I thought,
that's here.
But he didn't have it
Right.
We didn't have anything as to what he was.
There's gotta be pic-
That's a
Approved.
maximum,
Right.
5,000 maximum
would be the maximum.
that he gets reimbursed.
So I think we need to go ahead on with the dig and commit to that, since we've got all that. And since it's not costing us anything, and it was gonna be the county, I make a motion that it's presented to them. If that's what we need to do.
There's a motion on
I'll
the
second.
floor. A second, Don. Any discussion? All in favor, signal by aye. All opposed? Motion passes.
so that's a recommendation to the town board.
Right.
you send a note that it'll be on the town board's agenda to us with the county?
Yes.
Because we've had some
Yes.
other people approve them and not us and other municipalities,
Yeah, so.
just so we kind of
Okay.
prepare for it too.
The Barn Street Streetscape Project. What are we talking about here?
So the town submitted an application to the Rural Transformation Grant Program. We asked for 940, we got 675,000. And we asked this advisory board to give a recommendation on the use of MSD funds to come up with that $515,000 difference, or a portion of it, obviously not all of it. And the recommendation was given that 443,000 of on-hand MSD funds be contributed to the project. And then the advisory board also said that recommended up to 10,000 a year of MSD monies, and there's 40 a year, could go toward servicing debt if the town had to borrow money for the balance to do the project, which it will, whether it's internal loan or an external loan has to be decided yet. So the council at its last council meeting approved to accept the grant. So we're gonna go forward with that project. The next step, the council still hasn't decided 100% how it's gonna come up with the 515,000 for local match. That'll be on the April 4th council meeting agenda. There is a possibility that they would likely choose to use more MSD money than what was recommended by the advisory board. Obviously, that's the council's prerogative, ultimately deciding how those funds will be spent. But the next step in the project is we have to select an engineering firm for that, so we have to submit and receive requests for qualifications. And the interesting thing about in the state of North Carolina, when municipalities are required to get requests for qualifications, you can't ask what price they're gonna charge to do the project. You have to make it selection based upon the most qualified engineering firm who submits a proposal. Ultimately, it always comes down to price anyway. Anyway, Withers Rathenow, they did the cost estimate for the Barn Street Streetscape project. I would imagine they're probably gonna be one of the stronger engineering firms' proposals to actually do the engineering. So staff will get busy with that here shortly. And hopefully by June, we will have a engineer on board for this project and have a final design on this project by sometime late August, early September then to go out for bids on the project and hopefully get started on it yet this calendar year.
Any questions, comments?
So we really don't need to do anything with this time. Can I just say something about the Barn Street, if we're gonna do these beautifications and everything? Do you think that we might have a problem, like, at the corner of Barnes and Washington, as far as like, you know, how that area looks now?
There won't be enhancement at every lot along Barn Street because some places there's just no space to do it. You know, when Withers Rathenow did the master plan for the MSD, they came up with a little parquet, so to speak, for that corner. I don't know if that's a possibility or not. I would imagine Faith Christian Ministries wouldn't want to give up any portion of their vacant area to do a planting, but you know, at some point in the future, if they're not always there and they choose to relocate to another area, it's a great opportunity.
You know, too, like with the food truck, and then you got the cars,
Midland
lots of cars.
Enterprises.
Lots of junk cars. And then you got a lot of dumpsters over there and trash cans, on the other side. I mean, if you really look at that corner, and we're trying to beautify that area, I mean, You know, I drive by that corner every day, and I feel like that area, you know,
It's a toxic hazard. Who knows what is going into that creek? Cause it's flowing into the same creek. I mean, it's not funny. I mean, you can walk back there and see all those batteries and all that stuff right there.
Tires, transmissions.
So I mean, that would be, an easy way to get it cleaned up.
Yeah. If only CVS would have been able to put their store there. All that would be different today, but
and you know, and I know that, you know, there's that thing about the food trucks, but, I mean, do we have to have, like, them on, like, the entrances of town, or, you know,
And also too, you can't, there's not a walkway to walk from that side of the street. There's not a sign, or what do you call those things? Crosswalk. There's not a crosswalk, is there?
No, you have to cross in front of Vina.
And even that's not,
It's horrible.
It's not
I
an
will
actual
watch
walk.
my-
What, no, but I'm talking about going from that corner to the corner, going down the
Washington,
hill.
just going down here. No.
It doesn't have any painted on the road.
And so you've got all these walk signs, and that's one of the busiest.
yeah. There's no doubt the engineer we select for this is gonna have their challenges working with us to get what we want and with the property owners there.
do we not have any type of ordinance about cleaning, you know, the lots, or how, you know, how messy we can allow the lots?
There are nuisance ordinances in place. They take time to enforce, wanting to work with the property owner or the infractor and get it taken care of. I don't think any effort's been put forth to Midland Enterprises in quite a while. The fire chief tells me that a few years back, there was a concerted effort just from a fire safety standpoint. The lot was so parked full of vehicles, if the building did start on fire, they couldn't get anywhere near it because you couldn't pull off the street to get in there. And we can pursue that once again. It cleaned up for a while, but then every time they had a place where they could put another car, they did. And now it's full all over again. I don't know, maybe the opportunity there is to have some type of concerted effort to buy them out,
Or make them fence it in.
screen it in.
We could decorate a fence.
That's an option too.
Concrete block wall. that you
I
paint,
know.
that you paint. Put some blue on.
I just hate to see the, you know, beautification down there, we've got such eyesores, you know, even if there is a bunch of, you know, trash cans like that. Hot out there.
Pot is just temporary.
We had a conversation.
It's temporary. It's not gonna be there. They only have, I believe, three months.
The city.
Yeah, they only have 3 months. They're probably in their second month, I believe.
That's what it was.
Yes. So we have a yes.
Alrighty, any other comments or questions, observations, Barn Street project? So we're on hold for right now.
Yeah, it's
So
just a
that is
report.
Just a report. Very good. Alrighty, looks like we're looking at the budget proposal, which we have before us
And
for 24, 23, 24.
And, tomorrow we'll be going, I'll be going before town council, doing a budget presentation, and I just want to gather and see if there's anything that's coming up that you feel that needs to be added, or what are you, things that you're looking for the 23-24 fiscal year? And so far, the numbers here on 22-23, this is what we had for this fiscal year. And the finance director, John, is here, and I believe he gave you some handouts also.
Yeah, the proposed 24, that's not in any ways final, but the proposed 24 is all the way on the right-hand column of the sheet with the gray ink on it as well.
And so the $20,000 is for the proposed service
Yeah,
on the debt.
Yeah, it was mentioned that 40 and 10 is not enough. And 120 is 100,000 upfront and then 20,000 every year thereafter for the debt service on that project.
And you only budgeted 11 for the
Facade grants.
facade grant. What,
Would you prefer? We don't really spend anything on advertising. I just had pretty much copied it over from last year because.
but I mean, if we use the 12.5 and we're stating that we have to, you know, that's what we can go up to, I would like for us to assume that we're gonna have people eventually in the town that want to do
Mhm.
some type of beautification to their property or, you know, or whatever. And so I'd like to see us use that 12.5 every year then.
Be nice.
But if we don't, then what are we gonna do with it? Put
Well,
it
then it
towards-
just go to
Just
general
goes
fund.
Then it will go towards future projects similar to Barn Street.
And is that what, in our current budget, the capital improvements to MSD, the 163?
350, yeah.
Yeah, that's what is that going to the Barn Street?
That's going to be going to the Barn Street, yeah. Historically, the whole fund balance had been budgeted in MSD. As you can see, in previous years, it never got spent. And just as a fill, I just put everything to capital improvements.
Okay, so in this year, 163,000 is going.
That's budgeted. Year to date, it was 13.5, which was the match that we had to pay to Kara Rogers for the grant.
Okay.
So our balance would be,
630.23 balance would be 163.830.
okay, so this is after all of that.
Last year about this time, there was the idea of doing hanging flowers and planters downtown. And we had gotten some pricing for that, for the baskets that have the 2-gallon water reservoirs in them. And some simple equipment that would allow a town employee to water them every day. Is that anything that the Downtown Strong wants to propose? Probably looking in the neighborhood of about $4,700 to do that. And that would be with the purchase of the brackets that would be put on the streetlight poles, and then the hanging pots, and then maybe some ground mounted or placed ones also. Just a thought.
So these are all hanging, these are not on the ground.
Well, it could be a combination. The ones on the ground would be bigger. Didn't want those, you just want to start with the hanging ones, you could do that. But by the time it was thought about last year, and the hope was to have it in place for Blooming Festival, it was too late, which, you know, again, at this point, we're probably beyond getting it up for Blooming Festival.
And
Well, then I
anything
heard
on the
that-
ground is gonna get torn up anyway.
I was about to say, well, I felt like we heard on the ground, they're in the way, they're a hazard, they're up high, it looks junky. So I don't know where to
Okay.
put them.
Well,
I don't think that high.
I don't either, I think the little hanging baskets are super cute, I think Little Washington has.
Yeah, especially if we have the pole and stuff to put them on.
and you do, you got
There it is.
11, well, from between Alston up by CVS down to the Barn Street, I think total there are 14 decorative streetlight poles in there. And these brackets just simply bolt to it. They're black wrought iron metal.
We could start with 7, every other one,
Right,
and,
and add 'em all.
and just see how they work before we do every pole.
Yeah. So I mean, you can budget a number at it. What's left over, John?
Oh,
I'll
yes.
look up I'll get the price of 7 and put that for the 24 budget. Is that fine? And
That'd
just
be
take it
good.
out of,
Is that for both sides? What was that again though?
Well, no, you can't do anything on the other side, but that's the,
Well, you can do it. I mean, those are all, poles are all in the right of way. I'm sure Nash
They're all
County
by
wouldn't
duty.
object
We
to having
don't-
flowers in front of the courthouse and the administrative building.
okay.
I don't know, we pay a premium for this.
So is that 14 just on our side? So
No,
is
that's
it
total,
28?
It's
both
total.
sides.
Oh, okay.
Seven.
So we may have to do 8. We don't wanna get, yeah, we don't wanna
Or
be
on the
wobbly.
side and opposite poles on yours.
Yeah. That works. Yeah, I think that would
You're
work.
talking about between CVS and Faith Christian,
Uh-huh,
you said 4 and 4.
uh-huh.
Randy, do you remember how much they were last year?
I have a whole budget on it,
I
John.
think, I think that way if we do it and it doesn't work out, we haven't invested so much money in
This
it.
is true. But one thing,
And then we can put them on Barn Street when we get that.
Yeah.
they, even with the 2-gallon water reservoir in the bottom of each one of those pots, they have to be watered every day. If you're not gonna commit to watering them every day, I do mean every day, even when you get the 1 inch of rain, because most times they're planted so full, the foliage, the rainwater just runs off and they don't get any rain in the pot itself.
Just put a whole bunch of nice silk ones.
So,
Yeah, no, that's
Yes.
good.
I mean,
I've done that before.
silk on my silk board. Nobody.
Not necessarily.
And that would be something a town employee would do?
yeah, so
That's what I would recommend, yes.
so we're shooting for 8 of them for, this would be for the 2024 budget.
Yeah.
This would be earmarked for hanging baskets, beautification, maybe.
And we could get them up after July, so they go from July to like late October for this season, and then next year we could start Mother's Day to late October again.
And will it interfere with the banners?
No,
Well, they should hang a little bit below that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would-
so the banners are
I guess at the
perpendicular, and
bottom,
these would
yeah.
be parallel with the roadway and the street.
And how much are we gonna see about adding another, section to our Christmas tree? Did we ever do that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we spent $25.74 on that this year.
Yeah, could take it up another.
No, we spent $25.74. Did we do the ornaments or did we add a
Oh,
section?
yeah, you did the ornaments, I thought
it was ornaments and that didn't.
Okay, yeah, then we added this,
Good.
the ornaments for $25.74. We did not do the,
Additional
Right.
3 feet.
Which I think that tree's tall enough, but,
Oh, you do?
well, you know,
We
especially
wanna have the
when it
tallest North
stays up
Carolina, that's
until, February, March.
I like that it stayed up so long. That made me so proud. I'm an old school guy. I am loving it.
Yes.
They're doing it right.
They're leaving it up to old Christmas.
It was
Okay, they're leaving it up
That's
until
what-
Thanksgiving.
It was a Valentine's tree.
Oh, that would be good. We
I
can
love
change
it.
the
I thought it was great. I
Yeah.
thought it was great.
The St. Patrick's
Yeah.
tree.
Well, that's fine.
So-
I knew we were working on it, so
Well-
is it finished or?
It can have another 3.5 foot section put to it. And I forget what the price was.
I think they were roughly the same, plus or minus 500.
For another 3 foot section.
Yeah, another 3 foot section would probably be 3,000.
Which takes it well above any of the trees in there.
Probably would.
And that was my thing, 'cause sometimes you don't see it until you get right on it.
Especially with the crepe myrtles when they branched out.
Yeah,
You can't
that's-
see.
Do we do anything with Christmas, MSD? For decorations or anything? Is that all town or chamber stuff? Just chamber stuff.
MSD bought
The tree, but like,
and the poinsettia things.
we're not involved with the, all the festivals and things they have and stuff. MSD involved in that at all?
Recreation department.
Is that part? Okay.
We've done a business decorating contest before through the MSD.
Okay. Yeah, okay, stuff like
But basically for the budget for next year, our miscellaneous expenses as it's budgeted is 5,000.
And that would take
Is that
care
what
of that.
That's what I'm estimating at, but per what Amy said, I have 11,000 for facade grants. She noted that should continue at 12.5, so I'm gonna take 1,500 from one of those other line items. The professional services, that was just the Withers Rapinol master plan that was funded through a grant. That's why that's so high in comparison to all the other months. I'm sorry, all the other years.
All right. Anything else for the budget?
Well, so they want us to pay $100,000 up front, right?
It hasn't been determined yet,
But that's what they're asking.
I wasn't at the last council meeting, unfortunately, John, and Sherry, maybe you guys can answer that better, or Sean?
There
I'll
were
let you
comments
were there.
of the MSD should fund it, fund it more than what they currently are, it's an MSD project, that was the comments that I heard in our manager report that week, I said, is 100,000 and 20,000, and any amounts, if the MSD collects over 40, should be remitted to the general fund until the general fund is made full, and from the 3 or 4 council members I spoke to about it, they seemed in favor of that.
We offered 40 though, right?
40 and 10, correct.
I wanted to make sure I had it right.
Great explanation, thank you. Thank you. Okay. Anything else in the budget? We good there? All right. Other business.
All right, I have 3 good short things. First thing, we're coming up on year 3 for the banner. So for the banner program, this is the last year. Do you all want to continue? Or, because we'll have to come up with one last design for the banners. And I know the contract that was done, I believe it was for 3 years. So we have one last year, so we have to come up, start thinking about designs. But I just wanted to throw that out there.
So the design changes year to year.
Yes.
But y'all get to keep the banners. So you
They go
back
to,
it up,
well,
right?
they actually go to the actual, sponsor. Right.
They're just faded.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say,
Some,
They don't.
I'm sure you've got some, but they look really faded.
Faded.
toward-
Yeah, I haven't even
Yeah.
gotten,
yes. So I went and delivered those too.
Yeah, she brought mine.
I
Yes.
think mine must have disappeared.
Yeah, Sean and I went and delivered those.
Is that like a quality thing? Cause some of them, they're really faded. It's
Yes.
just my comment.
Yeah.
They're really faded.
You know, something that we might wanna look at that a lot of small towns do is they have flags on their poles. I mean, that are hooked to the poles, not sticking out or anything. And, you know, and they're flying and everything, and it just looks really good in older towns to me. That might be something that we would, I mean.
Well, there was an idea, guy on Church Street. Some towns have banners with, past servicemen's memorial pictures on them and what branch they served in and from what years they served.
I've seen those and they're really neat.
But they probably fade also over time.
Anything except for the sun's gonna fade.
Maybe after we get with the 3rd and final year of this, maybe that's what could be done next.
We have to go through with this 3rd year.
I'm
Assuming-
assuming
I
we
mean,
are,
from
yeah,
contract.
that we have to, but I can review the contract. So if,
Yeah, let's just review.
go ahead and, okay. And the next thing, Sean, what was your request? You wanted to visit? I know
Oh, yeah,
Sean-
I'll take care of that. I don't think we need a microphone. As you know, the podcast has been doing very well. We were able to do 2 downtown business with our new segment, What's Happening Downtown. One was Vino Market with Miss Joanne Pope Clark. The other one was with the Heritage Clothing Company. Both episodes did very, very good on viewership. So what I wanted to propose to the board was, we're gonna also continue to visit downtowns. Would you mind if I do like a, what I want to call like a care basket? Not even a care basket, like a welcome Nashville basket, where we'll just have some small things, snacks, waters, little Nashville swag from the HR department, pins and other little paraphernalia to give to the business owners. So when we do the podcast, we can say, here's something on behalf of Nashville. And also just do a little drop-in visit, let you know, we're glad you chose Nashville, glad that you thought about coming here to bring your visit to our town. So when I talked with Sherry about it, you know, something we both said we would need approval from you guys. We can't say we did an unofficial one with the Heritage Company, with the Vino Market. Both ladies enjoyed it, but I think we need to make it official with at least approval motion from you guys, saying it's okay for me to continue on that route.
I think just a cute little certificate or plaque, you know,
Well,
just
I
to
understand,
hand-
but you know, I want to do a care basket. You know, my wife's into arts and crafts and all that stuff, and all the what's the cricket machines and stuff. So she would probably make something like a little basket with little small items in it.
What
You know,
kind of
rather than
budget
too
are we
major.
talking about?
Now,
What kind of budget are we talking about?
this probably would just be funded out of either my pocket or the planning department pocket. It'd just be small, so like chips, oranges, apples, a couple bottles of water, few pennies from Matthew and they.
Yeah, I was just trying to make it cheaper.
I mean, well, you know, it's the thought that counts. You know, I think you go by a job and take them a little basket with some oranges, apples in it. Just, you know, give them some snack on the day. Let them know we thank you for being a downtown business in Nashville. I appreciate you wanting to, you know, stretch the funds for us.
Sean, I think that's incredibly kind of you. I love that idea. I fully support that. Is there a motion? What kind of money are we looking at? Sorry.
He said we were.
Oh, that's right.
I mean,
That's
I
right.
don't-
Oh,
He
I
said
mean,
he'll
if-
charge us anything.
well,
For what we're looking at, I mean, unless you guys don't want me to expense if I
I
go
mean,
buy
can we
some.
not just set aside like $150
It don't need to be that
for
much,
a
small
year,
snacks.
so that they're not paying for it out of their
all right.
pocket?
Is that a motion?
A motion that we set $150 for downtown business support, business
Second.
development.
Second by Brian. On favor?
Y'all find some cute little things.
So then
Okay,
you gotta
okay,
add
aye.
it's actually an advertisement.
I think that's gonna make us go broke.
Right.
Yeah, we just get the budget over there.
Yeah.
Just goes in the other.
Oh, I mean, you're gonna have fun time to figure
Cool.
it
Thank you so much.
Yes,
Appreciate
so,
it.
that's really great.
Yes, sir.
Thank you,
No
sir.
problem.
Where I'm pulling from.
Well, to piggyback off of that, so
You're not
that,
getting
no, not me, not me. I'm not asking for money, but per our comprehensive land use plan, so how does this board feel about getting a downtown development director?
I would
A what?
support it 'cause I
Downtown
see-
development director, usually, so the thing is with that is mostly towns, well, let me read mostly towns have, like you all, like a downtown commission and they have a downtown director. And usually what that downtown director is, they're part of a North Carolina Main Street program and they do everything that downtown, with the downtown board. They go after your grants, they meet with all the business owners and tenants, they encourage or look for small businesses, they find grants for them, they do everything for downtown. But usually that position is under the planning department, so that's it, they do everything. And so it looks like in the past, I believe Julie was trying to well, we did get the MSD in place and got that program in place. And I was trying to, just making sure and looked on the website just to see if Nashville was part of the North Carolina Main Street, which is not. So getting the MSD in place, it kind of helps. And then with the 4 Main Street approach, looking like we've gotten the economic vitality done. Also, I believe they look for a design. We just have our MSD plan done. And so it's just like everything was set up to get in place to get into the Main Street, being a part of that. And so the Main Street program, they actually choose, I believe every other year or every 2 years or so, they select a community to be in that under that program. So there are some requirements that you have to have in place in order to be in that program. And within that program, you can get all the funding. That director will be responsible for making sure that it's downtown is meeting all those requirements. And so that's extra. And then there's actually funding set aside especially for those communities if you're in that program. And it's specifically for your downtown revitalization and all of that sort. So, and that's a whole beast of its own, in which I know the planning director, I can just speak for myself, has its own duties and things we're trying to get grants for and things that I have to do on my side. But with the downtown, that's still, and I want to make sure I could give my whole 150%, but you know, it's a lot that I want to do, but kind of unable to do. So, but this is not something that has to be done this year, but they do have deadlines. I said not this fiscal year, but maybe if that's something that you want to do, you could do 24, 25, and 25, 26 fiscal year. So I just wanted to just throw that out there.
I think it would be worth it. It has been something I feel like that maybe I have asked since getting involved with Nashville, and a lot of other communities our size and smaller
Yes.
have a downtown manager. Nashville's MSD is massive compared to other communities because it does include Barn Street all the way down
And
to
the
our
growth.
interchange. So that is there's a lot of opportunity, I think, for Nashville to have a dedicated person. This person can also facilitate more downtown centered events with recreation, with the chamber. That's just my opinion. There's not a whole lot of vacancies in Nashville's MSD, which is a great thing, but there's some redevelopment opportunities within that district, and having a person and an accredited program behind it will make a world of difference.
How would they get paid though?
That's the other thing,
I mean, I'm assuming that eventually the town would propose it as a new employee in the planning department, and that maybe the town would try to use a portion of MSD funds to fund it.
you could do between planning and MSD. Work the
Does,
budget.
does planning have a budget?
Yes, we, how are you asking it?
So planning has money, huh?
Ugh, I wouldn't say all that, it's just worth asking, and just having the support for it.
And it wouldn't be for FY '24, it'd be for FY '25.
Yeah.
And a lot of towns in the Main Street program, their chambers of commerce actually contribute to that staff.
So we're looking for a grant writer.
They can
No,
do
they,
that as
I mean,
well.
they do everything.
They do everything.
They
Is this a
will be
full-time
business-
job or a part-time job?
The Main Street program for, what is the Rural Ready Main Street?
Right.
Like Zebulon just got in it, and so for 2 years, they have a part-time director.
Right.
With the intention that the town is gonna make that a full-time position as they go through that accreditation program. I don't know how often Commerce offers it like that, but I mean, it's worth
Yeah.
looking into. I can ask Bruce.
And I have some information from the NC Main Street, because it was Zebulon and another town, it was just 2 towns that recently, I think they're in the preliminary stages
Yeah.
of it. So there's some criteria and requirements that you do have to comply with before you can even be eligible for it.
It's just, I think it's worth considering for Nashville, like in future planning for the town and for the MSD. If we keep growing, if the town keeps getting these residential developments, and you want your core downtown to get revitalized, then you have to have a person to manage it all. Otherwise, we're gonna constantly be reactive and not proactive in some of these projects.
I think at some point we have to decide, I'm talking not just MSD, but town in general as well, if we're gonna invest in our future or not. I think we owe it to the next generation. I think we also owe it to us here now to think about what sort of investments we are making now intentionally in the downtown area. Because too, Sherry, this MSD thing's pretty new. It wasn't originally part of the planning director. I remember when it came on.
Right.
The planning director, it was thrown to the planning director
Right.
way before you, and
And I
something
feel-
else thrown on there.
Right, and I feel with the downtown
So-
director, that if you get somebody in with that expertise, they can do much more than what I can give at this present time.
And I recognize that, and that is too much for one person to do. I go to a lot of towns, and it's amazing to see how much is happening. And from Zebulon, to Tarbert or Rocky Mount. What was the coffee shop owner in Rocky Mount? He just won like NC Main Street Person of the Year or something. There's so much opportunity, and so I hope that is something we'll consider as a board. Investing in the future and being intentional with our downtown, because we have a great story, a great history. Gotta preserve some things to keep having a bright future. So I'm all on board and love, and we consider this board to enter into some conversations or some dreamings about intentionally having a downtown director of development. Thank you for bringing that up, Sherry.
No problem at all.
I'll be the last thing I
Great
say, but I
opportunity.
think it's a good person that can bring
Yes.
Yeah.
business community, nonprofit community, like there's a lot that it just needs a person to be able to spearhead it, and you can't do it until that's their dedicated role.
Because business brings business.
Right.
Business brings business.
Well, somebody that a business that's downtown can, like someone she can go to say, I had this idea for this, collaboration with this event, and then that person can really make it happen.
That's all I have.
Good stuff. All right. Ooh, 5:59. The next meeting is April 17th. Everybody put that on your calendars. Anybody have anything else? Is there a motion to adjourn? All right. Second, there we are. We're out of here.